Taking you out live to Dallas Baptist University this midday, where class is in session for thousands of students. But before they were on campus, there was a lot of hoops to jump through when it came to getting enrolled and set up financially. Joining me in studio this Thursday, Adam Powell, CEO of Communities and Schools of the Dallas region, an organization that helps students navigate those daunting processes. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I know I kind of gave a little bit of a setup, but let's talk about what your organization does and who you do serve in the community.
No, absolutely. So Communities and Schools of the Dallas region is a nonprofit. We operate in 100 plus schools throughout the region. And we work primarily with students that are at risk of dropping out of school.
Okay.
And for most students, this is because of academics, behavior, attendance. We see an increase in mental health challenges, just a litany of reasons. And what we do, our model is really data-driven and research-based. So every last one of those campuses that we serve, we have a full-time staffer who's on that campus every day working directly with students, putting together individualized plans to really help them overcome whatever barriers they might have.
Yeah, because it seems like oftentimes perhaps they just kind of fall through the cracks unknowingly to so many people.
Absolutely.
So you guys focus on, again, working with high school students, particularly around that post-secondary success, which has been kind of a tricky time as well, especially if they're first-generation college students.
Yep, absolutely. One of the things that we found is, we'll be 40 years old next year. And when we were founded in the 1980s, against a different backdrop, right? We were really focused primarily on dropout prevention. And as you fast forward 40 years later to today, even graduating high school does not guarantee you a livable wage, right? So it's really, really important for us, and really feel like it's incumbent upon us to ensure that we are working directly with students to really make sure they have a post-secondary plan, so that when they graduate from high school, not only do they have a high school diploma, but they have a career pathway, whether that be entering the workforce directly or whether that be accessing higher education.
Right, and that is something that, I don't think a lot of people realize when it comes to that. So definitely good on that awareness. Let's talk about what sources our students can tap into that are actually at their fingertips, that are available they may not know about.
Yeah, the internet is the I would argue, probably one of the greatest tools out there, right, in terms of really being able to access information and really understand kind of your college options. College Board is probably the most pronounced of all of those. They've done a good job of really synthesizing a lot of conflicting and complex information for students and parents. I would argue, I would articulate to students to access the College Board website. Also go to individual college websites, right? If you have an idea of where you want to go to school, as early as middle school, if possible, but certainly by the time you get into your junior and senior year, start accessing university sites and doing the virtual tours that are available and some of those things. And I really think that really helps students narrow down their college choices. And then by the time they get to their senior year, they really should be prepared to kind of actualize some of the things they've learned over the years.
Okay, so we have some tools for parents there, and you have some advice on how to best prepare. This could be for parents, caregivers, grandparents, whoever has a student in their life.
Yeah, no, absolutely. A couple of things that come to mind, specifically for parents. I think one is, making sure that you've got a routine, right? I think a lot of times students get into their junior and senior year, they've been in school for 13 years, they're kind of tired of the process, but it really is important, I think, for students to finish strong. I think also, as I mentioned, really planning college visits, if it's possible, taking students to campuses, give them a tangible vision of what the next 4 to 6 years of their life could look like. And if you're unable to do that, I think virtual tours, right, being able to access some of those things. Also, just simple things like financial aid, right? I say this into the camera. At some point, your student is going to come to you and ask for your tax information. That is completely normal. There's nothing nefarious going on. That is part of the financial aid process. So really just being engaged in all those processes, I think, is really, really important for parents. And then the last thing I would say for students and parents are have an essay, right? A lot of times when you're applying to schools, particularly highly competitive colleges, you're dealing with schools that admission rates in some cases are less than 10%, right? And when the margins of error are that razor thin, one of the things that gives students an opportunity to really set themselves apart from their competitors that might be academically comparable is your individual story, right? And are you able to tell that story, articulate that story in a compelling way that says, I've got so much more to bring to your college campus or to your university campus. And I think sometimes that's the difference between a student getting a rejection letter and an acceptance letter.
All right, you can find more with Communities and Schools. We appreciate you being here and the work you are doing to help students succeed long term. We've got